What's up, Rick?
Hey, Theo.
Hey. Oops. My bad. What's up? All right,
Let's
what's
see
the problem?
what is going on with my mouse. Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so I'm generally like just venting. I'm like so frustrated at how much effort it takes to like change a little thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, so what I'm trying to do is just stick in another activity handler.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, this isn't even real code yet. I should be able to at least create one of these things
Mm-hmm.
and make it run. And I tried to just kind of ad hoc, just kind of search through the code and look for places to kind of like add another example of this receive activity message, but with it too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like do it. When I run it, it doesn't work. So I'm not sure. I'm probably missing some part of the definition
Yeah.
somewhere in some files. I'm not sure where.
Okay. Here, well, we can step through it from the beginning to the end. Hold on one second. Oops. My bad. Who's Kevin Wisbeth?
So he just did he like did some 3D modeling.
Mm-hmm.
He actually built like a lid for the new 3D model. Designed it in SolidWorks and I 3D printed it, and it kind of fits. Or he designed it in some other program actually, but anyway, he made the 3D model, and I printed it. So the kind of the guideline that I'm following is like I invite everybody to the Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're like I'll literally invite anybody to the Facebook group, but then if they actually like spend some money or build something or do something that really actually requires effort, then I guess they're okay with being in the Slack channel. I guess we don't want like everybody in the Slack channel because it's like it's actually kind of sensitive information going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the guideline I'm using, I think you agree with this, is just like if they actually make a contribution, then they're probably okay for Slack channel.
I mean, I don't mind if like everybody joins the Slack channel. I don't really mind if everybody joins everything. But what sensitive information are you talking about? I don't remember putting anything sensitive there.
No, I just mean sensitive in terms of just like stuff going on in your. I mean, in general. Well, if you don't, yeah, it doesn't matter. I just mean you don't necessarily want to tell the whole world every single message. I mean, the most obvious ones are like if you're discussing security,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're not giving out passwords, you don't want to be like discussing security issues because then people know what your security issues are. But it could be a lot of other stuff too. So pretty soon, once we actually start to be successful, there's going to be lots of competitors just seeking to replicate and essentially commoditize everything that we're doing.
Okay. So, yeah. Sure. Fair points. So you said, oh fuck. Oh yeah. So you said Kevin Wisbeth, this guy, he made a 3D model in some other program, and did you say that you've tried printing it out already?
Yeah, I've actually got it right here in my hand. It has a little bit of an issue. It kind of works, but it doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't fit perfectly, but it's actually pretty hard to iterate if you can't like print the thing out right in front of you and try it out. But anyways.
Yeah. What does it look like? Does it look similar? Is it rectangular?
It's just a lid. It's just a rectangular lid to like, because I said the Jenny model like doesn't. It needs to be enclosed, so you like just design the lid
Okay,
But
cool.
yeah, so I mean, I think it's cool to have another brain
Yeah,
involved. I think that he's capable of making like a really fancy looking design
nice,
if he wants to. So
cool. All right. Uh, yeah, and I Google hung out with Umu. His name's Chris, by the way. We have a lot of Chris's in our channel. Yesterday, last night. I mean, really briefly because I had to go, but I don't know. We were just talking. I think what he said was he's gonna try to create um, his own sort of e-commerce store, like for comparison for us. I think that's what he said, something like that. And in this thing called Joomla, this CMS platform called Joomla, and then I guess we can compare to see what's better, WordPress or Joomla later. But anyway, that was what we talked about.
hmm. I guess
Anyway,
I guess we could always just like have yet another content manager on another subdomain.
we could.
Um, it's kind of like if we're using volunteer work, it's kind of like you have to adjust to what the volunteers want to do. You can't just like tell them exactly what to do. So it's one of those things.
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Definitely. Um,
yeah.
all right. Well, let's. Can we start from the top here? Um, so basically, I suppose the top is in the component where you call the action.
Okay. So
There's something I gotta say about volunteer work though, but I'll tell you later.
no,
But
go
anyway,
ahead. Say it.
I'll tell you later. I'll tell you off off stream.
Okay. All right. So what I'm trying to do for better or worse here is socket on robot command hit server. I'm actually it's kind of a long story why I would even do this, but it's not going to respond to this message anyway. But whatever. For a test, I should be able to just do this. Actually, define two of these,
Yeah.
and so I just want this to set up the callback so that it points to this receive activity message to handler and does actually anything. It doesn't matter. I just want to get it set up. So I just kind of looked through the code. So the question to you is like, okay, how do you do? I mean, I assume that you got to have this receive activity message to here because that's where it comes. That's like where the definition this guy's going to come from.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really sure how this thing gets populated. I looked into the one other file.
So. Mm-hmm.
And I guess under this guy activity box reducer. No, wait, that's activity. I don't know. I was in like, oh, it's still loading.
Um. Well, while it's loading, I'll tell you how those actions get populated.
Okay, so I also added some stuff in here, just so you know. But yeah, go ahead. How do they get populated?
So if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see somewhere it says map dispatch to props. And then it says return actions bind action creators. Well, above that, well, I guess that part too. But I mean, that sort of all plays into the same thing. It's using this library, I suppose, called connect. That connect word right there. It's like just some like opaque library method. But what that does is it what is it? It allow it it brings in all of the actions into your props. Does that make sense? So like it when it instantiates this component here, this entire activity box component, it's going to pass into the constructor, sort of all of the actions that there are, all of the actions I think that there are entirely. So every action that's defined in any of those action files. Am I saying that correctly? In any of those action files. If you can you scroll to the very top really quick? Can you scroll to the very? Oh, so only those actions right there. So on the fifth line down, the Redux main page actions. Wait, so those imported as actions.
Import as actions from Redux main page actions. Redux main page actions.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so this.
So all of those actions will be accessible through the props only because of that weird connect thing that we did at the very end. So it's like an opaque thing that you just sort of get used to. I mean, you could dig into the source code, but you just get used to it. But all of those actions become available.
Okay. Okay. So I need to add one here.
Yeah, so you definitely need to add one here.
Yeah. I feel like this thing is kind of like, it's really just kind of like learning a different language. It's like trying to understand how this stuff
convention, yeah.
Pretty much all opaque.
It's like learning a high level language. By that I mean like you're learning a convention, like just these rules and stuff.
Yeah. It's almost impossible to like track down what it's doing, like how things are actually done.
I mean, there's only a few conventions though, like it's memorizable.
Yeah. All right. Receive activity message. So I want to do like to receive activity message. Okay. Is that it?
Wait, sorry, I blinked. What could you do it? Where were you? Okay, yeah, that's it.
I just kind of copied an example of this receive activity message, and I put my receive activity message to.
And if you scroll to the right, that one says two, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And then wait, hold on. At the bottom, at the very bottom, you also have to. Oh no, never mind. That's it. I mean that's it for this file. But let's continue moving from or progressing. So it goes from the component, it calls the action, and then when that action gets called, hold on. So when that action gets called, this part is again a little bit opaque. I don't know exactly how, but the reducer. So can you go back to the component? If you scroll to the bottom of the component again, you'll see that it also, I believe, it also synchronizes with the reducer at the bottom. So near the middle of the screen, it says map state to props. And then you sort of, there, and also at near the middle of the screen, like maybe like 10 lines right here, or you passed it right there. Map state to props right there. But anyway, so that that basically these two chunks right there. I mean, this is one of the things. These are one of the memorizable parts. Like those things you're gonna find almost in every component, and all map state to props does is it synchronizes the component to the state that's carried in a particular reducer, and then the map dispatch to props just synchronizes, or I guess I should say makes accessible all the actions in the actions file. That's all it does. So when you call one of those actions, then this, wait, am I saying that right? Oh, okay. So when you call one of the actions, there's going to be a reducer that listens for that action, and then once it hears that, it's just gonna carry out some logic that pertains to the state. That's the point of the reducer. So if you go into like the activity box reducer, you'll see how it listens for the action. Yeah, at the very bottom, there it is, right there. So basically, this entire thing, what is this? It's like a function, I think, the entire thing that we're looking at. But yeah, you can see here, there's an object. There's an object called actions. So if any of those keys happen, like they get, they happen, then it's gonna invoke that function to that's the value of that key. Yeah, so it's going to invoke that function, and that's your function activity receive activity message reducer 2, and then yeah. So can we go to that the implementation of that method?
Receive activity message reducer
2. Yeah, it's somewhere near the top of the file.
Okay. Yeah. So I just ripped out these things and I just made it say hello.
I ripped out those things. Okay, it just says hello. Okay, that should be it. I think you were just missing the action. So that's gonna change the state. So you should then see a new activity message. I mean, the activity message component's already listening for changes in the state. So yeah, I think it should just work now.
Okay.
Wow, this guy Kevin Wisbeth is pretty awesome. He wrote something in the Slack, just about he reprinted. Wait, or he refit the lid to the original unaltered chassis 3. He says, so this new one will work if you want to print it.
Yeah, it is awesome. I mean, it's actually kind of cool. I'm amazed in a sense. I mean, perhaps I should expect like the community to get involved, but I'm kind of amazed at the level of like the amount of that people can contribute to this, like, and be interested in it, even in sort of primordial state. Like,
Yeah.
contribute. There's there's a lot of potential out there for like community-driven stuff to happen around this project.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Um. All right. So, anyways, I guess what should be happening. Maybe this is undefined move to undefined undefined is
Probably.
what is happening here.
So
I think.
messages. Oh, you know what? Because look at the activity message reducer one or whatever, the one that you copied. Look at the object new message. It has three keys: username, robot name, command. Yours has none of that. So whatever's downstream probably uses that
Right.
structure.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Close enough. All right. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Okay. I'm just gonna keep plugging along.
Okay, sure,
Kind of learning about this. Um,
sure. I guess
that's Are you working on some stuff right now, or what?
let's see. Yesterday I sort of deployed a sort of a quickly put together version of the WordPress page. I'll just leave that for now, just so I can rebuild some interest in working with that again. I'll improve it later. We left off on the X control stuff. I could finish that. That a lot of that's going to be working with the payment system, integrating that. Uh, what else did I have? I mean, yeah, well, that improving the slide deck is on my to-do list, but that's I think that can wait, partly because the more we wait, the more like substance we'll be able to put into it um, as things happen over time. Um, that let's see what else. Uh, I don't know. There's a bunch of things like still. I mean, I want to make sure we're not just being engineers and trying to expand our bandwidth a little bit. So putting out more Craigslist ads, just to sort of scout out for potential team members. Uh, let's see what else. There's the whole rating system, rate users. I feel like I left a lot of things unfinished though. Maybe it's just the X control thing. Let me see. That might have been it. Oh yeah, and I want to put together this robot. I'm still waiting for the faster motors to arrive. I'll put it together. And about this 3D chassis, 3D printed chassis. Like, does the table that the machine is standing on move, get bumped around? Is that why there's like some, gaps here and there?
No, it's because it like changes. Like when you print ABS, it's known to have this a lot of thermal expansion and contraction,
Okay.
and it causes like one layer expands in the other. It's like because
Oh
of
shoot, sorry.
stresses, the layers tend to get detached from each other sometimes.
It stretches the layers and they get detached from each other.
Yeah,
Just the thermal or whatever the heat, the expansion. Okay. Uh,
yeah,
I just remembered. Like I can't believe I just remembered because like if it weren't for me just remembering, I would have blew somebody off. But I'm meeting somebody at two, somebody that may be interested with helping. I mean, this person, she's not. She has a computer science major from Berkeley, UC Berkeley, which is great. But I don't know. I get the feeling that she's not that interested in programming per se, but maybe more interested in like less technical but still computery work, like maybe Word. Maybe she can help out with the WordPress page or the CMS or things like that. But anyway, meeting with her, or well, anyway, meeting with her and her brother, or possibly just her brother. I don't know. But anyway, uh,
yeah.
basically, I'm just working on the X control stuff, I guess. But
Yeah, I think.
the payment
Well, I
system
mean, I think
stuff.
we should first restore the functionality. So I think that's good. I mean, it's kind of to me, it's like I don't want us to like have stuff and then not have it. I mean, really, if we were following proper procedure, we really would have restored all this stuff before even deploying
Yeah.
the new. So I think that becomes priority just because all those things are essentially like major bugs in a sense because they used to be there.
Well, I mean, I hear you. I mean, I hear you on that, but it's like even though they used to be there, it doesn't necessarily mean we should reinstate it. Like maybe we should think about what X control is and like if there's a better way to sort of satisfy that functionality without being X control. Like maybe there's a better way to design just the interface or the interaction. I don't know,
But
but
I mean,
we shouldn't be just restoring stuff for the sake of restoring stuff. We have the chance right now to like take a step back and
yeah,
rebuild it,
we don't
redesign it.
kind of, but we've never even tested. So none of these things have been tested under any significant load. So you can't judge. I mean, it's true. If it's almost, I mean, you don't need to implement something just because it's missing. I know, but those to me were the most important things. That's why they were implemented. It's
Uh,
like they're before all of the other tasks on the list because they were implemented as priorities higher than any of the other stuff that was on there,
okay,
unless they're actually deprecated. That's another story. If it's deprecated, then it's deprecated.
okay, I'm
But
okay. I mean, for like X control, I mean, like if we were to give it some thought, like what if instead it's like you don't buy? I mean, um, like you don't buy what is it, 50 cents, or you don't buy 10 minutes. What was it, 10 minutes for 50 cents, or like 5 minutes for 50 cents? But what if it was more like you put in some kind of like amount into your account, like I guess you buy credits or something,
yeah,
and then like on demand you can use these credits like however, so it's more like a dynamic amount of
yeah,
time that you can use that you can use for X control.
yeah. I mean, that's how I envisioned it even before I implemented that little hack. But I just wanted something that I could implement in like a day
Yeah.
that would allow us to theoretically profit if the traffic was really high. So, I mean, or also it's also to give the user some way to take control if they really want to, because right now there isn't. Um, but now it has nothing. So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter to me if they put the money in and then use a fraction of it, or if they subscribe. I really think like doing a subscription is probably the best way, but it doesn't necessarily matter to me at this level of coarse grainness whether they're paying by subscription or by bulk and then using fractions of it or with single micro payments. I just want to have something there, now so that we can scale up traffic and start to do tests on what people respond to.
Yeah, no. I mean, I definitely agree that it should be there. Like, if only for the reason that like when it gets too chaotic, if I mean we have some kind of resort to maintain some kind of like control. Somebody could control it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean like
Another, I mean, the other thing I would think would be good to implement would be like a membership, like gold, almost like the Patreon, right? But you actually get like Patreon. You sign up for Patreon, you get nothing in return. This would be like the same model as Patreon, but when you sign up, now you're like a silver member, and you always have priority over everybody who's not a silver member. Or if
yeah,
you go higher, you're like a gold member, and then you have priority control over everybody who's not, silver and below, whatever.
yeah,
I mean, I think that might, I mean, it might be even better than X Control, the way it's set up. But I don't know. These are all just like questions that we need to like rapidly be able to test and answer, or we're never going to get any. Like as a company, we've got to be able to rapidly implement ideas at a very simple level, test them against the population, like a large number of people. We have to test it against significant amount of traffic, see what it does, and then see which ones we want to follow.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I feel like intuition plays a lot into that. I mean, you're coming from like, yeah, like the world of science, and I agree with like all of whatever you call it, the paradigms there. Like you test it against population, whatever. But I was just thinking while you were saying that, like I wonder like how much of it is intuitable. Like I feel like a lot of it you can just tell like whether you know the population will like it or not. Let's see. Let's see. Let's say you're like Snapchat. I'm just spitballing here. I have no idea where I'm going. But let's say like you're like Snapchat, like you had this idea for like filters. Wait, is that Snapchat? That might be Instagram. I think Snapchat has that too. You have this idea for like filters where like you can put like virtual sunglasses on somebody's live video. Um, like I feel like you can intuitively know that that's a good feature that people will like that. And like if there was another feature for like I don't know like a pop up in the middle of the screen that says like what I don't know what it was, just like a bad feature. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like you'd also know that it's a bad feature. I guess like for things that are very variables that are very close to each other. I guess it's hard to for a human to intuit like any discrepancy or differences. So maybe that's where like population testing really helps. But for the most part, like I don't know.
This is the whole, I mean, the whole lean startup concept is to rapidly try different things and test them. So, I mean, the most specific thing is like A/B testing or ABC testing to figure things out. I mean, that's well accepted and well
No,
known.
I totally understand the theory. I'm just like trying to wrap my like uh oh, I just lost my train of thought. I'm trying to what is it? Jesus Christ, why does this always happen? Um, I understand the theory. Okay. Oh fuck, I don't know.
I mean,
I
I agree. Look, I kind of feel where you're going. Like, it's not, you're saying it's not all testing, and you're right. It's not all testing. You can't test every possibility. It'd be a waste of time. It'd be impossible. You can't test everything. You've got to use intuition to figure out what the important tests are, essentially. Or sometimes you don't even test. You just completely assume. You can completely assume some things sometimes. But I'm just saying, on some of these things, no, it's not necessarily clear to me like how the best way to monetize exactly. Uh, I really think we do need to like pay attention to data to kind of optimize. I mean, here's what I know intuitively that there's scarcity, there's something fun, and there's a degree of scarcity, and people can essentially get past that scarcity by purchasing fun. That is like you can use intuition. And it seems reasonable that somebody would give up some of their money to get some fun somehow. But then, like, if it's a matter of like, is it going to be X control or a subscription or all this stuff? No, I don't know which one would return the most profit. Plus, it'd be variable based on the population using the system. It's not even a constant. So yeah, I don't know what those are. I think you could only determine them experimentally. But the thing is, right now, I mean, we don't even necessarily have time to do all the experiments we would like. We just need at least one thing implemented, and then we can kind of push on that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, do a lot of experiments. Jeez, I can't believe I forgot the thought. Hold on, I'm trying to like conjure it back up. Uh, you do a lot of like A/B testing. You do a lot of experiments. And like, what is the hope? Like, the hope is like you'll discover something that was completely surprising or completely like unintuitive. That oh, who knew people wanted this
No,
feature?
I don't. It's not that. It's not that it's that intuitive. It's just like it's like Apple deciding did they want so with the new iPhone. It could have been they had plans to build one that was more like an iPod, like it had the round thingy on it. But it was actually a phone, and then they had another design to build like the iPhone like we see now. Now they somewhere in the mix there they did some kind of market testing or something
Yeah.
to figure out that they didn't want the old iPhone version. So it's just they made that decision. That's it. It's just, I mean,
Hmm.
it's not like they discovered something radically new or
Yeah.
different. They just kind of checked, is this thing going to return more money or this? There's so few things like in the interface. If you notice, people don't notice anything except the most obvious components. Like
Yeah.
none of the text, the donate button, the buy, they don't see any of that. They don't even know they can log in right now, for the most part,
Yeah.
right? They only see the things that are very obvious, have very obvious buttons right
Yeah.
in front of them. So you've only got you can only present the user with about like 4 or 5 different things total. So the question is what should those 4 or 5 things actually be? Should it be a big donate button, a big ad, big X control, big subscription, whatever? It's got to be and it's not clear which is the very most important thing unless you set them up and do some test. Sometimes testing is just keeping the thing running long enough to see how people are behaving. I think that's the only way to really resolve what are those few components that really need to stand out to the user and be available for us to maximize profit under current user conditions, which will change over time.
Yeah. No. Okay. No, I get you. Um, so if we're comparing features that we already have, it definitely helps this A/B testing, if that's what it's called, or this testing against the population, because then people like A 60%, and then people like B 40%. But for new features, and I know this might be not what you're saying, but just for completely new features, if we're just testing, X control, and then like I don't know, some crazy like Y control, and then Z control or whatever. Like
Yeah.
these things that are just completely unrelated, like features. Like your example with the iPhone, like should the iPhone be a circle or rectangular? And then you test it against people. People, they say they like rectangular better. Okay, then it's better than circular. Then go with rectangular. But like things that are not like in the same world like that, they're not comparable. Like X control versus I don't know, shooting somebody with a Nerf gun. Like those are completely two different features. I don't know where I'm going. I had that seed of thought. I'm trying to like conjure it back. It's gone. I'm just gonna give up. Never mind.
I mean, the way I look at it is nature managed to build human beings just by guessing and checking a bunch of stuff without any intelligence, really. And that's kind of how startups tend to work now, too. They just kind of like, no, I mean, I don't want us to go totally random like that, but it's kind of like startups that in the last 10 years have started to use like almost more of a Darwinian approach to building things, realizing that they can't really predict ahead of time what the best solution is, and just like being extremely data driven.
Yeah.
No, no, no. I mean, all that said, yeah, I still think intuition is necessary. Got to like narrow things down a lot.
Well,
Uh,
I wonder if a part of that is like let's say you're like A/B testing like two completely different features, not even in the same realm. X control versus like shooting somebody with a with a water gun. Um,
yeah, you could A/B test those too.
yeah, but no, but you're like limiting yourselves then to like that world where only those two features exist, and then you're trying to. But like I don't know, what about like feature Z? Like I don't know, like what is it? Like I don't know, some like splash message. I don't know. I can't even come up with one. But like some other feature that's in a totally different other realm, like that's not one of those either. Not even like um, not a what do you call it? An iter. Anyway, not the same thing. Uh, like you that doesn't even enter your experiment. That doesn't even enter your like conscious.
Yeah, but
Um,
you could. Oh, okay. So if you think of Z control, then we could test Z control and X. Well, for one thing, we could just put Z control on the site, and that's fine. Because it's like the code doesn't take up that much space. It can have like millions of features. It doesn't hurt anything to have lots of features. But what I'm saying is, when you try to decide what's the priority of this developing the feature, or if you're trying to decide what's the priority in terms of which one needs to be presented to the user, like at the most obvious place in the most prime real estate on the page, then you've got to know not only is it a cool feature, because we can intuit whether it's a cool feature, we already know it's a cool feature, but you got to determine how cool is it, like how much money does it make? Does it deserve the most prime spot on the
yeah.
page? Does it deserve the most developer effort? Those questions are harder to answer intuitively.
But I just like just the maybe what I'm like feeling here is just the I don't think it's a good experiment. Like you put in let's say you put in what is it, the X control in the prime spot, or you put in the shooting somebody with a Nerf gun in the prime spot. I mean, like they're in two different realms, so like they're gonna have completely different what do you call it, like interaction levels. Like maybe it's normal for the Nerf control. What is it? The Nerf. Okay, I guess that's a good way to call it, the Nerf control thing. To not have as many interactions, but like it has like few but more intense interactions or something. And then the X control one, maybe it's normal for that to have many interactions but more cheap or whatever, like cheap costing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like you can't really compare those two side by side, can you? Like
Why not?
as a scientific experiment,
Why can't you just say? Why can't you compare the amount of money that each one makes?
the amount of money. But maybe it's not about amount of money. Maybe it's about like does it, I don't know, like does it draw more viewers, that are not really being monetized, but maybe they just like watching other people, or like the idea, I don't know, I can't even come up with these on the spot, but like maybe it's not about money. It could be a whole host of other,
So, well,
variables, dimensional variables.
this is the crux of the thing. So, I mean, even if it's about traffic, so if you want to generate traffic without paying attention to money, I mean, you could, in theory, you could start optimizing for traffic rather than money, and I mean, some companies have done that. So, but you can still like measure traffic, so you can still compare them on that metric if you want to use that metric. I just think the money is, in a sense, it might be a little premature to use money. It's like you can't use money if you're not at a certain point where you're actually,
I mean,
not.
like money is one of those variables. It could be like branding or aesthetics, or like just the impression that you give, or it could be traffic, like you said, or it could be, I mean, it could be a whole bunch. Like, it's
It
just so
could, but
hard
at
to
the end of the day,
experiment.
so long term, there's only one that matters. It's money. And if we can't use money, then probably something like traffic would be a good measure. But if we something like aesthetics is not a measure. It's not
Well,
measurable.
branding could definitely be a measure. I mean, it's hard to measure, but it could be an important thing. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, maybe it's not monetizing. Maybe like I don't know, feature Z is not monetizing, but somehow it kind of gels the site together, and in the long haul, that might pay off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Okay, so yeah, that's a good point. Like some things, in theory, that okay, so you could have like a feature that has no return for like a year, and then somehow like 10 years down the line, it somehow generates a monetary return, which you can't measure by testing initially. Yeah, I mean, I realize that stuff can exist, and I'm just saying, but from what I've seen, a lot of the things we're dealing with are not necessarily that complicated. It's like we were talking about X control, and I think there's like a few different ways to monetize, and I think that we can tell which one is working better just by how well it's I mean, it's monetization, so you can tell which one is doing better by measuring the amount of money.
Wait, let
There's
me
some
just try to.
factors that you
uh,
can't.
what about this? Just as a concrete example, like what if we only had one prime real estate spot, and it was either X control, or it was like an animated robot, like I don't know, dancing or doing something cute or whatever, like just to like uh express my point, like maybe the X control would have given us some money, immediate money outright, but what if like that dancing a robot thing, that GIF thing? What if like somewhere down the road, like an investor saw that and like something clicked in his head, and he was like, "Dude, that's it. Like we're like, I like this branding, I like this website, I like the concept." And what if that turned into like an investment and a whole different outcome for the entire company? I mean, like I guess what my just general bigger point is like maybe this was that seed of thought. I don't even know anymore. But maybe it's just that I feel like it's just so hard to like test this scientifically. Like test, what are we testing? Like the quality of a website? Is that basically what we're testing? It's like um, as a scientific experiment, it's like impossible to control all these weird variables like branding or impression that you give. I mean, sure, you can like narrow it down to like just money, but um, like I don't know. That's just a small piece of this entire thing.
I don't want to get too theoretical. I'm trying to be like super practical, and the idea is, I mean, I already spent like months of time implementing this X control and all these other things, but the X control I went ahead and implemented um, to have a really quickly implemented way of somehow giving users some way to like basically somehow throttling based on money. I mean, regardless of the type of method used, the whole idea is there's scarcity, and maybe users would pay to overcome the scarcity, and that was just the quickest way to implement it.
Yeah.
And I don't want that feature removed from the system because we switched to React. I want it to still be there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not arguing with you there. I'm just playing with the theoretical idea of like being able to A/B control. What is it? A/B test like the quality or the goodness of a website. It's kind of it's like impossible. It sounds impossible to me anyway.
Yeah, at a theoretical level, of course. Yeah, I agree. There's no way to. There's this whole chaos theory component where it's like you could walk into work with red shoes one day and that could cause you to be a billionaire, depending on specific events of the day.
Is that like?
Hey, those are cool red shoes, and that guy could be like the CEO of the company just doing a tour, and then you meet the CEO.
Is that like a canonical example, like that people throw around all the time, or did you just make that up on the fly? Because that's brilliant, dude. That's brilliant. I like that. I mean, it really expresses the point. That's good.
Yeah. Although I realize that I can't. I mean, I'm not going to be like picking out red shoes and green shoes every day expecting that to happen. I have to still make most of my decisions in the realm of what is predictable and controllable.
Yeah. Let me think. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's okay. Here, I was trying to map it to our problem. What you just said about the red shoes, you suddenly become a billionaire through whatever crazy circumstance. It's like if you focus on like X control. I mean, like if you focus on these testable features, because you understand that like it's impossible. Like, why should you waste your time caring about these like chaotic things that could be I don't know, like that are untestable? It's like, wouldn't that be like somebody like in the office? He's just like really like laser focused, like obsessively to a fault, focused on like, I don't know, maybe like the font in like some report he's writing or something, and which makes him miss out on, like trying different shoes every once in a while, or trying different clothes every once in a while, or all these other variables that you can't really control per se, but that somewhere in that like that spectrum of variables, one of them, or something's important there, just because it's like 99% of everything, and like you're focusing on this like 1% of the world. I don't know if I articulated that well. I'm just saying the point is like like laser focusing. Even though I agree with you, there's testable variables and there's like untestable variables, but if you like obsessively or hyper focus on the testable variables, don't you lose something by I don't know, I guess, what am I saying? Like, I guess not focusing on the untestable variables, but what could you really do with the untestable variables? They're untestable by nature. Like, what can you... I mean, you could pay attention to them, you can play around with them, you can change them up every once in a while. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, there's this thing called sub-optimization, which came up on Car Talk one time, which is... as I understand it, or as I remember it, it's when you do the nerd thing, which is optimizing one tiny thing so much that you lose track of the whole picture. But to me, I mean, you gotta, the reason that like Darwinian evolution doesn't fall into that trap that much, because it's always optimizing based on the actual... I mean, the amazing thing about Darwinian evolution is it comes up with all this cool stuff, and all it does is optimize for like one generation's improvement in survival. It's basically using one metric, kind of tracking one metric's improvement.
Yeah, hold on. Can I just pause you right there? Can I just pause you right there? Like that's exactly... Isn't that like a fault to sort of mischaracterize this as optimizing for one variable, which is money, like websites or businesses. I don't know. Yeah, even to that extreme, a businesses. I would say it's like a fault to say like a business is like one thing that they should optimize for is like money because well now it gets tricky, but because of the other things like branding or like how you're perceived. Like there's so many other things that are not money in the immediate term, but like I guess they eventually do translate into money. But things like that, it's like there's like if you simplify it to only money in the near term in like the next 2 months, what's going to give us the most money? Um, yeah, I don't know. You're miss.
Okay, so I got you. I got you. So here's what you're saying. Greedy. It's like too greedy of a strategy, basically. If you're, yes, I mean, here's the truth of the matter. I mean, evolution probably uses like what 20 years for a person to like do the evaluate. If you're in theory, what you would want to do is like create all possible companies in the space. You know, it's silly, but that's what you create all possible companies in like an infinite number of different universes, and then let them all run out for. They would all run for like 30 years, and at the end of this experiment, you'd have your, you know, infinite number of different universes with infinite numbers of different permutations on what a company could be. And then at the end of the 30 years, you would measure one would be the highest for whatever reason. But I mean, we can't do that many experiments. So the question is, do you want to set up one particular guess at a company and then wait 30 years to see if it's the maximum? I mean, it probably won't be. So then the question is, do you want to like do like a 1 year, like set up an arbitrary company without any testing, wait 1 year and see how much that returns? Maybe that would be a good way to do. I mean, to me, that's starting to actually get realistic. I mean, that's kind of what we do. I mean, I've spent like a year working on this probably, so it's like a year of just kind of like putting something together and then kind of see what it does. But there's like the amount of time you use makes a big difference. And if you say like, I want to make the most money I can in 1 day legally, I mean, I don't even know how to, I guess I'd maybe do a freelance job that, or something. I don't know how I do that in 1 day. But like, if you gave me like a week to make money, I'd probably just like do a freelance job. That'd be the maximum income I could do. If you give me like a month, I'd do something else or whatever. As you extend the time outward, then the actions I take would change quite a bit. So yeah, if you like window down too far, I agree that kind of mess you up. But right now, I mean, I think that we're ready to start using inflow of money as some kind of guidance, because I don't want us to be like just. I think it's very unguided to just kind of like guess a feature and spend a lot of time on it, like a year on it, without getting any feedback leading in. When you could rapidly prototype a feature, maybe in a couple weeks, and start to get feedback, that's much what I'd rather get. And you might even decide that the feature turns out it's not as useful as you thought it would be in a couple weeks, rather than a couple years. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, so right now we've guessed one feature, which is X control, and then it seems like we're doing this optimization for that one feature. We're like, how can we make this better? Let's do some A/B testing. Where's the prime place to put this?
No, we don't even have it. I would disagree. I don't think we've even tested X control.
No, okay, hold on. Yeah, but that's not my point. But like we plan to. I mean, that's what is on our backlog, right? We plan to test X control and whatever. But my point is now like we guessed one feature and we're doing all this effort, expending all this energy now to like sort of like fine tune it or optimize it. Just like theoretically, wouldn't it also help to take more guesses to sort of to take more course step out to the more coarse grain and like make some big plop down some big bets, in other places, and then like when do we do that, and when do we like test all these like big coarse grained features against each other? Like, is that not a better approach than focusing on the one guess that we made sort of arbitrarily, and then optimizing that one feature?
Um, well, okay.
We've tested. I mean, we've tested only X control, and on our backlog is improve X control. Why on our backlog is not try a Nerf gun shots or try a ping pong ball shots or what? I mean, I don't, crazy some
But
other crazy features like that.
improve X control. I mean, backing up, I don't think we need to improve X control. I just want to implement X control. I
Okay.
don't want to make any improvements or optimizations of any kind on it. I just want it to be there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, be there. I get you. I guess my point, I don't know, it's just very minor and pedantic. It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's arbitrary, which because of how little we know right now, it's arbitrary which guess that we've made X control. It could be, I'm not saying it should be, I'm just saying it could be that instead of re-implementing X control, we could just as well re-implement or implement for the first time like some other big feature, because we know so little that about X control or this or anything else, that it might be this next feature might be more of a hit than X control or not.
It could, but I'm just saying the discipline, to me, the more disciplined way is, I mean, I'm just, like, it's not, I don't know if X control or the next thing that we try will be better. I don't know that. And if we never implement X control, we will never know that, actually.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it was implemented, and I'd like to have it back. The reason that I invested time in it to start with is because I think it's an easy way to go ahead and kind of see what's going on with the market. Are they willing to put down 50 cents to play and win? And it's just an interesting thing to do. I think that doing it will. It is. Don't think of it as an experiment. Like, oh, if this happens, then this ahead of time. Like we know what our actions are going to be ahead of time or something. It's not like that. It's just like, hey, now there's a way for people to like put money in to get something out of the website. Now, will they do it? How much will they do it? Will they like ask for something else? Will they say it's priced too high, too low? We can start to learn from that framework in a very adaptive way, not just like a binary yes no kind of thing. It's just something to learn from, and something to. It's also nice to have some kind of revenue. I mean, let's say we do get. Another way to look at it is like, let's say we get 1 billion users all at once, and our server can actually handle that. Right now, we'll get nothing except a little bit of ad revenue. Whereas if we had X control in place, I mean, if there were 1 billion users all at once, we would definitely make a lot of money, regardless of even like whether it's the optimal strategy. It would return something because it has the basic principle.
No, yeah, definitely. We need one of these features in there. It's just which feature, and we can arbitrarily choose X control and focus on.
It's arbitrary. I'm just saying, let's do X control just to make me feel better, and then the next thing you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I brought up the Nerf gun shot so much. I mean, I'm not attached to that or anything. Like, there's other ones, like what is it? Oh yeah, like pay to have your chats heard over other less priority users or non-paying users, or pay to change your voice, the voice that comes out of the Android phone.
Right.
What
Yeah,
else
I mean,
is there?
I think all these.
Pay to move faster. Have the
I feel
robot
like
move faster.
it'll be like multiple things. Like you'll pay to get a higher service level, and you'll just get like a bunch of extra features that the other people don't have. I mean, I'm guessing, right? I don't know, but intuitively, I'm guessing that's like the easiest thing for a user to comprehend. It's like, oh, I give them a $1 a month, and now I've got all these features that make me super cool. on the site, or $7 a month. To me, that I mean, I'm guessing that's going to be the most palatable thing. Um,
Yeah, I
because it's
don't
like you
know.
don't have to like sit there and say, "Oh man, I'm losing money on this feature. Now I'm losing money on this feature at this
Yeah,
moment." It's just like, okay, I signed up. Boom. Now I've got
yeah,
like infinite access to all kinds of cool stuff.
yeah. That may be like the most palatable for the user, but I wonder like palatable or not. I wonder if you can make money just based on those impulse buys. Like, oh, I got to shoot this guy with a water gun right now. Costs $1, and you end up doing that like 100 times in the month without uh, yeah, without you having wanted to. It's just it became an impulse at the time. And but I don't know. I don't know what's better or not, and I don't think
Yeah, I agree.
we need to talk about that.
It could be that the impulses deliver more. That's one of those things that I'd like to try and see.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't think we're there yet to like to have any idea what's better, $7 a month or these micro transaction in-game purchases.
Yeah.
Anyway, that got way off the rails. What was it? Oh yeah, so I'm gonna be X control. I'm gonna be re-implementing X control, and I got to meet this person like pretty soon actually. Well, I don't know if they get back to me. That is, but something's wrong with my brain. Like what is I've got to have like some kind of disease. It's got to be a disease. Like maybe it's like Lyme disease. Maybe I have Lyme disease. Like a symptom of Lyme disease is
I think you have this paranoia about your brain state. That's about
is
the only thing.
is bad short-term memory. It's like memory loss is a symptom of Lyme disease. But I don't know. It's just like why do I sometimes just like it hits me like a train, like like bam, it hits me, and then suddenly like I forget where I am and everything. I mean not where I am, but like what I was talking about. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, maybe you just got a unique, sometimes.
You know what it is though? It's like in that moment, I become like too self-aware, and then like I like barrel down this rabbit hole of like a connected self-conscious thoughts like, oh, I'm doing this again, I'm forgetting again, whatever, and then too many it really does take up my stack, my CP, my brain CPUs
Yeah.
like stack, and like the stack gets overflowed with just this recursive call, and then I crap out. That's exactly what it is almost. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, the key is thinking about what you're thinking about instead of thinking about your own self. But it's easier said than done. I mean, it's easy to say that. I know it's certainly for me, like in party-like social situations,
yeah,
it's like easy to say, hey, just focus on the party and have fun
yeah,
and don't think about how people are responding to you and all that. But in that situation, to me, it's very non-trivial to actually do. Like
yeah,
now in a music situation, it's become a lot easier for me to like just focus on the music and what I'm playing and not care about how many people are in the audience or anything, which came over like by practicing, like sort of got used to that. But like it all depends. Like
yeah. No, dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I probably can't even do it in the music setting. I can't do it in social settings very well either. I'm always like getting derailed by my own, like self-conscious thoughts, or whatever. But I can imagine and I fantasize like how amazing life must be to experience if like every moment you're just like you have like none of this like what is it called, worry, or sort of like overhead thoughts. It's just more you're focused on exactly what you're looking at. Like this rose petal looks red as shit, and you're just like focusing on that, or like this peach is juicy as fuck, and you can only think about that, and 100% of your brain is like on that moment, or like you're listening to somebody's story and you're like just like so caught up, and 100% of your brain is on that story. But my life has never been like that. It's always been like 20%, like it's like on the situation. I'm like kind of like watching my own self from like a bird's eye point of view, which so like every so often, like it's not even like 20% like continuously. It's like more like it works more periodically. It's like every like some period I jump into a self-conscious moment, and it just takes me completely out of the situation I just was in. I was in somebody's conversation, I was talking with somebody, but I was just gone. I'm just gone mentally into my own little world for a second, and then I come back. Or
Yeah.
like I was enjoying smelling the roses, but then suddenly I'm like thinking about, whatever, myself or my own consciousness, and then later, and then suddenly I'm back. But like if I can just have a continuous experience without those periodic interruptions, dude, like I can imagine how beautiful life must be. Just experience like that. But at the same time, I mean, Plato says the opposite, though. The whole unexamined life is not worth living. But
Well, like
anyway,
look at it this way, you
or
probably.
Aristotle, I don't know.
I mean, nature kind of made us. A lot of people have this issue, but the deal is when you're like trying to survive. Basically, if you just walked around being happy all the time, you'd be dead, which is why that's not how we are.
Yeah.
So you may not be the happiest organism on the planet, but you have the ability to survive. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Well, I don't know if we should belabor this point. Anyway, all right, fine. I will just really quickly. But it's like I don't know. I mean, I know you didn't mean like strictly like happiness, but like you can still, if you live that continuous life with no interruptions, no self-conscious interruptions, like you're still unhappy at times, like because you're 100% into the sadness, you're 100% into the rage or the anger, you're 100% into whatever feeling you're feeling at that moment. Like you can still survive because you still have, I don't know, sadness, I guess, and you have that whole range of emotions. But are you saying that the self-consciousness is somehow helpful for is what's helpful for survival,
Yeah,
or do you mean the like
both.
non-happy emotions?
Both. I mean, neither one of them would have evolved if they weren't useful.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. How is self-consciousness? I think we talked about this before, but I don't
I mean,
remember.
it's dialed up too high, so it causes problem. Like, okay, so I mean, music's a great example because I mean, it's like when you get nervous and then you're trying to like play music, all of a sudden, like you could play, and then all of a sudden you become self-conscious and you can't play what you could play before. It totally like blows your set. It's like definitely a negative thing. Like in that circumstance, but that's because it's like dialed up. In that case, that's when it's like the stress level is the response is like dialed up too high, so it like messes you up. But it's like the response was supposed to actually do something useful. Like I can't even really explain what, but it's like
Maybe it's more blood to the head, just like more adrenaline,
yeah, I mean
the nervousness.
it's like the nervousness is supposed to stop you from doing things that would get you into bad situations. So it used to be that like you lived in a tribe, you had all these dangerous things going on. You probably were like living day to day, like life and death experiences. And if you got ostracized from this one little group of 20 people or like decide to not be your friend because you're acting weird, then you're probably going to die. So it's like under those situations, the most important thing is to kind of not it's just to kind of like I mean one way to look at it is like you have to jive with this group of people
Yeah,
and like in the most extreme way if you're just walking around like don't give a shit about what anybody thinks, which is how you should be at a party kind of, but if you're
yeah,
just walking around like that and you
yeah,
lose friends you could end up dead. But in our modern society you can literally walk around a party of 1,000 people and not give a shit
yeah.
about what anybody thinks about anything you do, and it's actually like more attractive to be like that. But
Wait, so are you saying that those periodic self-conscious moments that I get, it's like, so, um, so they were built in so that people don't, go like, like too far out, too crazy. Just entropy, like causes some of these members of the population just to like just go way off the on like a crazy limb or like some crazy branch. I mean, not branch, but I mean like like they do their own thing. But this like collective, periodic, self-conscious, these moments, like they kind of reel everybody in and like kind of really make us more into that collective, like being, that collective consciousness. Like it reels everybody in, um, so that we do things, like that are like um, normal to each other, like, and then the whole like collective like starts to like take shape. Like these people, they like pray, they eat, they do these kinds of things. They hunt. I don't know. They act normal, but like they don't have, for the most part, members that like just go out on their own into the wilderness and like kill a few babies and then come back.
Uh, what are you talking about? No, I feel like they.
No, I'm just hold on. I think I went way too vague. I don't know, but unclear. I'm just saying like the self-conscious moments are used by evolution or nature to like real members of the of society sort of closer together, meaning more similar to each other. They act more conforming or normal,
Yeah.
because if it weren't for these self-conscious moments, like entropy would, take its course, and like the entire population, they'd all go about in their own direction. I mean, not physical direction, but like, like they do their own thing, uh, and there'd be like no sense of cohesion anymore. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
like,
that's one way to look at it. I was actually thinking the other way is just personal protection to not be an asshole. It's just kind of like an asshole check. It's like, am I being an asshole?
no, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, though. It's like if it were that if you were allowed to just go off in your own direction, that's what an asshole is, right? It's like somebody that doesn't give a shit about anything else. They just want to do what they want to do, and it turns out like they do some asshole things. Um,
Yeah.
so instead of allowing that, nature sort of makes you aware of deviating from what society considers normal, so you don't be the asshole. But at the same time, it's interesting that it pulls together like and almost forms this like collective being, almost collective creature, collective consciousness, um, because of the fact that everybody's conforming, like
Yeah.
this collective acts, in a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just mean there's two ways to look at it. There's always two ways. You can look at like the population evolution or the individual evolution. So both, I mean, I agree with you looked at it at the population level, which is true. Like it has like population level effects, which is probably cohesion of stuff. I'm just saying at the individual level, it might just like keep you alive. Like in other words, the people who didn't have it just died more.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but at the same time, it like has this population effect of making the population stronger because it's more cohesive, probably. But all that said, I think like sometimes it's like dialed up too high. Like it's a feedback mechanism that's supposed to tell you when you're being an asshole, right, and shut you down. But sometimes it's too sensitive. So it's like telling you you're being an asshole when you're just a nerd. You're not an asshole. You're not even like nobody's even noticing you're at the party. Like you haven't even reached that asshole level, but it's like dialed up too high, and that's when people need like help.
but when you
Get over
say
it.
when you say dialed up too high, though, isn't that more of a function of modern society and society changing? It's like maybe genetically it's fine, it's not dialed up too high. Like maybe genetically in our like primitive days when we were cavemen, like it's like uh, perfect that dialing, whatever. Like you step out a little bit, you get I don't know, burned. Oh, fuck, I don't know. But anyway, but maybe it's just because of modern society. Uh, uh, yeah, modern society now that it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong when you're not. I don't know. Um, I don't know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, it's definitely configured. Well, I mean, and on average, it's configured for Paleolithic times, which means it's not going to fit the modern environment. But then deviating from the average, there's all different levels of feedback that different brains will have based on their own particular construction. You know what I'm saying? So it's like some people. That's what I mean when I say some people probably just have it dialed up too high, just based on population variation. But yeah, on average, yeah, it's so you can
Mm.
survive in Paleolithic times, which still doesn't match
I
modern
mean,
society.
because you can argue that like I have it dialed up too high because I'm very what is the word, self-conscious. Uh, but I guess what I'm trying to argue is no, I'm normal. It's just society. It's just modern. Like it's just a normal, yeah, Paleolithic, whatever genes in this like modern society where like we hold like parties and like celebrate New Year's and things like that. It's like what is my point? I guess my point is just maybe the genetics are fine. It's just the situation, the time
Yeah,
has has changed, so it makes you. So I guess then it means that everybody or most people are probably also feeling like that inner or that self consciousness, which is really, even though it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, not as much like you were saying. Nowadays, in a modern party, you don't have to care what other people think about you. I don't know. I don't know where this is going. Um, it's going off the rails.
yeah.
All right. Uh, anyway, I'm gonna work on the X control, the payment system actually. The and I was and I did some looking into that uh well, a little bit, and I don't know. I still like PayPal sort of because it's just a more familiar name. Like I know like Braintree or whatever or these other ones, Stripe. These are huge and these are sort of the it thing, but they're more the it thing for developers. Like developers, like
Okay.
if you're using like APIs, if you're using Stripe's API, it's fine. It's like more cleaner and more friendly. But if you're a consumer and you've only ever been a consumer and you're not technologically inclined, it's like PayPal is still the name and the face that you recognize the most.
Yeah. I mean, so just a detailed Braintree does do PayPal, but I mean, I don't care if it does PayPal or Stripe or whatever. Uh, I agree, PayPal is definitely more palatable as a thing that people already have. I only did Stripe. I actually thought about that, and the only reason I used Stripe is because it was quicker to implement. I just wanted something working like that day. Uh, but yeah, I don't care which one it uses. I think PayPal is better. I think it's better if the user sees PayPal, even if it's using Braintree. I think it's better if the user like sees that, oh, they have a PayPal pay option. So yeah, I agree with that. Just want us to have something.
Wait, what was the last thing you said about the pay option?
I'm just saying,
PayPal.
even if we use Braintree,
Uh huh.
I would want the user to see a PayPal payment option,
Oh,
which
okay.
supply.
You mean like can't and you're saying that you can show the PayPal branding sort of even though you're using Braintree?
Yeah, I mean, PayPal bought Braintree, so I doubt there's any much difference between them at this point, other than the particular development interface that you use.
Okay. Well, I'll look into that. Um, yeah. Do you is a tomorrow's a New Year's observation day, I think. Um, is tomorrow a holiday for you? I mean, like, um, or do you have
Uh,
to go into work tomorrow?
is it New Year's?
It's officially New Year's observation day.
Interesting. interesting.
So I don't know if that means it's like a federal holiday or
I hope
something.
so. Yeah, I don't even know.
Wow.
Look it up on my like work calendar, but I know we got one day off for Christmas. Not sure if we get one off for New Year's. But.
Wow. Well, I mean, I love it when that happens. It's like when I'm like so absent-minded that it pays off and like you get surprised with like days off, free days off.
I've actually driven. I mean, a few times I've driven to work and then noticed nobody's there. I mean, over my lifetime, that's happened probably a couple times.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, those it's like mini Christmases, those
Yeah.
moments. All right. Well, uh yeah, I'm probably gonna eat lunch and then actually I gotta contact this guy yeah, this guy wants to grab a coffee, so I gotta grab coffee with this guy. I gotta go.
Okay.
All right. See ya. Bye.
All right. See you later.